Hey, what is going on, guys? It's your tech bro Cholo here, and welcome back to where we take awesome out of the box. Happy New Year sa inyong lahat, and I hope that your 2021 is off to a very hot start. Ours sure is, since today we're gonna be talking about the Infinix Hot 10. Alright, so before we get started, let's unbox the Infinix Hot 10. So right here, you can see that it has 128 gig of internal storage and a G70 processor. Some of the specs are on the back, and let's open it up. Here we have the phone, but we will take a look at that later. They gave us a free jelly case, a screen protector that we have to install ourselves, the usual documentation, and if you're a big fan of PUBG Mobile, we have the Hot 10 limited time limited drop for the game. The mechanics are on the back, and the expiry date is sometime in the middle of the year, so these are good to use. We also have a SIM ejector tool. In here we have the micro USB cable, so not USB-C, we have micro USB here. A pair of wired earphones come with the package. And we have the Infinix charging brick. And finally, we have the phone. So we have some Infinix branding up here, some Hot branding down here, and the back-mounted fingerprint scanner. Here is the quad rear camera setup we will talk about later. We're gonna talk about the phone and its specs in a bit, so without further ado, let's begin. For the pros, we have a fairly powerful processor for its price, a big battery, and we're talking big, especially for this price range. We have a good design and a big display. For the cons, we have plenty of bloatware and we have no wide-angle camera. Infinix finished their 2020 lineup by offering one of their most compelling budget phones yet. With everything that happened in the year 2020, it's nice to know that people who don't have an infinite budget can still afford a very bang-for-the-buck Infinix phone. The Hot 10 has a relatively powerful MediaTek processor along with a big battery, making it a solid budget phone to have, at least on paper. What did I mean by that? Well, you're gonna have to find out in the rest of the video, so stick around. The Infinix Hot 10 sports a mostly plastic design in different colorways, with our review unit being in gloss blue. The plastic chassis looks good, though the glossy exterior becomes an annoying smudged mess as soon as you start handling the phone, which is expected for phones in this price range. That aside, we have a very artsy design that shows geometric patterns when light hits it from a certain angle. In my opinion, it does not look cheap at all. It might not be my cup of tea since I always go for more minimalistic designs, but I find the design very appealing, and especially for those who are into these kinds of things, you'll probably dig it too. There's a rectangular camera module on the upper left side of the rear, as well as a fingerprint scanner set slightly below it. If you are not a fan of back-mounted fingerprint scanners, this could be a deal breaker for you. You guys know I like them side-mounted, but then again, in the end, it depends on your preference. The phone's edges are curved, and we really like the fact that the camera module is level with the back. This is really rare nowadays, and huge bumps usually call for an even bulkier case, so good that Infinix went for this design. The power and volume rocker are on the right side of the phone, while the 3.5mm jack, charging port, and speaker grill are all located at the bottom. Sadly, the phone still uses the aging and fast becoming obsolete micro USB port for charging and data transfer. You'd think that a phone dropping near the end of 2020 would at least sport a USB-C port, but alas, I guess micro USB ain't going down without a fight. The phone features a larger than average 6.78-inch display, though the resolution is capped at HD+. The bezels around the said display are a little thick for our tastes, but are completely in line for a phone in the Hot 10's price range, so it's an acceptable compromise. Display quality is so-so, and you can really tell the difference between the lower quality of the panel versus a full HD+ one. So if you're planning to use this phone mainly for media consumption like on YouTube or on Netflix, that is definitely something to look out for. The Hot 10 uses a quad camera setup, but most of the cameras past the main shooter feel a bit superfluous and put in purely so the brand can claim to have a quad cam in the budget phone. You could say that it's another spec that looks good only on paper. Aside from the 16-megapixel main sensor, the rest of the cameras don't look or feel useful. We have a 2 megapixel depth sensor, a 2 megapixel macro shooter, and a QVGA camera that's of dubious value. This actually made me stop and think. If they didn't stuff in all these subpar cameras into the phone, it would have been less effort, and at the same time they could have bumped down the price a little bit to make it an even more compelling budget phone buy. Alternatively, instead of going for 3 subpar cameras, they could have gone for 1 ultra-wide camera, which could have proven to be more useful. The Infinix Hot 10 uses a MediaTek Helio G70 processor, which is fairly powerful considering its price. In fact, putting its synthetic numbers beside the Snapdragon-powered Poco M3, you can see that the Helio G70 is trading blows quite closely here, which is pretty impressive. Both phones have 4GB RAM and have 128GB variants. When it comes to gaming, you can enjoy titles as heavy as even Genshin Impact at 30fps, making it a pretty good budget gaming phone. I mean, if you can run Genshin Impact, you can basically run any of the popular games now. The phone ships with Infinix's own UI, dubbed XOS 7, running on top of Android 10. XOS 7 looks a lot like other custom UIs that we've seen other Chinese brands run before, which may or may not be to your liking. I mean, it all depends on how you like your Android after all. Unfortunately, the UI also comes with plenty of bloatware pre-installed. The pre-installed bloatware ranges from games to utilities, all of which take up precious space in the phone. The bright side is that you can easily uninstall them, freeing up more memory. As for the battery, the phone has a 5200 mAh battery inside of it, which is more than enough to last you an entire day. In fact, with our standard video loop test, we got 26 hours of battery life out of it. That means you can get a ton of gaming done, as well as consume a boatload of your favorite songs, movies, or shows, all with having a huge gap between charges. Sadly, you will have to wait for a fair bit to charge the phone from 0 to 100% since there is no fast charging tech installed here. The Infinix Hot 10 has plenty to offer thrifty buyers, though you also have to live with a few less than ideal features. The processor package and the large battery are certainly great additions in its price point, though the less than ideal camera setup and bloatware-ridden UI isn't the best. Ultimately, the 6,990 peso price point is good enough for a device like this, especially considering you're getting 4GB of RAM and 128GB of expandable storage. Don't forget to check out our full review and the articles on this phone on Unbox.ph. And also don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you enjoy our videos. Hit that notification icon if you want to get them updates when we drop them videos. Once again, it's your tech bro Cholo, and I'll see you guys in the next one.